Hello, I'm Vivek Atray. Welcome to another episode of the Good Vibe Show. And today I have a special guest from Dehradun with me, Pooja Marwah. Welcome to Chandigarh.
Thank you so much, Vivek, for having me here.
Finally, it's happened. We've been talking about this. Today we also have another event called the Hot Seat, Cool Seat event of Vibrant Forum, and Pooja is going to be on the hot seat. That'll be a rapid fire kind of thing, but today on the Good Vibe Show, we'll have a very calm conversation.
Oh my God, rapid fire always scares me, but I'm looking forward to it.
Right. So, Good Vibes is like cheerfulness. So, how did you become this very cheerful personality?
So I have a little story there. Now, there are 5 words that people generally associate with me. Do you want to take a shot at that or should I start?
5 is a lot of words. With me, they'll just say, he's tall. That's it, one word. So, 5 would be maybe energetic.
Okay, so Duracell Bunny, storyteller, don't laugh yet, drama queen, helicopter mom, and then Pooja. So these are 5 words that people associate with me for.
The first one, the last one I could guess, the rest I couldn't.
Okay.
But basically, a personality who exudes that enthusiasm. So how did you become that? Were you always like that? Did you get this confidence and this extrovertish kind of nature later? When did it develop?
I think all my life I have always been that one person that just lights up the place that she is in.
That is true.
And it's not me. Initially, I thought I was overwhelming for a lot, but I've grown to realize that that is me. And why would I change it? For who?
Do you overwhelm people? Do people become a little like coy in your presence?
I would like to say no, but I know that wouldn't be the truth. So no.
So on the show, you're very cool, and I'm the one who's supposed to be, overwhelmed.
No, I don't think you need to be overwhelmed there. I don't understand why. I mean, everybody is their own person, and I think it's fascinating.
Right.
But that's just me. Sometimes gets construed, honestly. But I think it's okay. You should be who you are, no?
So from being a mom who's looking after her kids, you said mom at home. That's
stay-at-home mom. That's what we say.
You became a stay-at-home LinkedIn queen or a content queen. How did you do that? And now you're like all over. You're going out. You're
Why
traveling,
queen? Why
speaking. Queen in the sense you're like killing it, right? So you're the champion. I don't have as many followers as you have. You've risen like a meteor from let's say normal positions to becoming a famous personality on social media.
Thank you so much.
How did it happen? First, the stay-at-home mom to the content person.
Okay. So stay-at-home mom, I always say that mine was like a typical Balika Vadhu kind of story. Shadi jaldi, bacche jaldi, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like a checklist, itni saal ke ho gaye, engagement karo, itni saal ke ho gaye, shadi karo, ab shadi ho gaye, bacche karo. So it just went on like that. And no regrets because I loved being home for them, 2 girls. And when my elder one was leaving for college is when, both my daughters sat me down and said, hey, you love to write. And writing is something that has always been my go-to kind of person. Every time I'm happy, I'll write. If I'm sad, I'll write. I've written all the time. And in fact, there's this song, I think, by Boyzone or Backstreet Boys, words are all I have to take your heart away. And that is what my website says too. Words are all I have to take your heart away. Because I feel that writing, especially today in this AI-driven world, is so robotic that genuineness doesn't come out. So I started writing. And writing opened up doors that, Vivek, honestly, if somebody told me this 2 years ago, I would think that they were absolutely delirious. But the kind of people that I'm writing for, the kind of work that I'm doing, I think it's very interesting. People say that, Dehradun, small town, what can you really do? But when you get opportunities to write for people who are associated with the White House, with NSA, with the government of India, it's a big, huge deal. And
are you letting out secrets here which no one knows, or does everyone know this?
No, actually, no one knows that, which is why I can't name people. But yes, these are the organizations that I am writing for in some of the other capacity. What capacity, again, I can't say. We have NDA signed. But because we're on the Good Vibe Show, and I want to share that doing something that fuels you or makes you complete is something I think everybody should do.
Right. So the writer part of you is your innate self, that is you.
Yeah.
And then the speaking part, the promotional part, the kind of the things you say now, it came later. So the writing was always with you and you developed that as a skill first. Then came the rest.
Yes. I would say writing is how I started because I've always done it. So how it started for me was I started doing blogs for the local paper, just sharing things on relationships. And I think somewhere Corona kind of gave me that little start because everybody was home, everybody was reading, and relationships that were fragmented were kind of getting back together. And my articles and blogs kind of people started reading them, started writing into me. That's how my Instagram grew, kind of grew at that time. So when I realized that, hey, this is something that is missing in the world today, why not write more of it? Gyan, everybody's giving, right? I mean, I'm sorry, I know that's what you do, but you do it in
I don't
such
do
a
Gyan
fun way.
only.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you do it in such a fun way, which is what we need more of. So, in a way, yes, I'm trying to ape you to say that I want to give the Gyan, but without sounding like the should be's and could be's of life.
So you're very popular there, and you've risen, as I said, in following. You just said Instagram grew. LinkedIn also grew, I guess, pretty much. And how exactly? Now let's come to the technicalities.
Okay.
Whatever you can share with our audience. How did your LinkedIn profile go from, let's say, 1 to 10?
So remember I told you in the beginning that there are 5 words people associate me by. We've gotten the storyteller out. Now comes the drama queen. So that's how LinkedIn started. I was doing a blog. You know, when I started writing, I used to be outsourced. Like, I hate that word now, but I used to be outsourced as a writer for one of, the big PR companies that we have. When you're writing for people in their, say, mid-50s or 60s at, CXO levels, how much ever adept a young 17, 18, 20-year-old is, you somehow miss the point, which is why they reached out. Now, when I was writing for one, I was writing for a Fortune 500 company exec. Can't name the company or the exec, but writing for him, his articles used to come out 1 edit, max 2, where they were going into 6, 7 months of edits. Now it was happening in 1 or 2 edits. So this gentleman was very happy, and he got on a call and said, "Hey, I want to grow LinkedIn." So I said, "But I don't know anything about LinkedIn. I mean, I'm just having fun with Instagram because that was like my personal thing." And then LinkedIn was like, "But I want you to write for me." And I think, Vivek, somewhere, God has a plan and people just come into your plan. Like, jaise wo bolte hai na, when the student is ready, the master appears.
That's true. That's true.
So I think something like that happened to me with this particular gentleman, and he doesn't even know it yet because I have no idea. It's just like he's disappeared off the radar. I just can't trace him anymore.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, he was right here. What happened? Nobody seems to know where he is. So I hope all good with him. But I did the craziest thing. Googled world number 1 on LinkedIn. He lived in Bosnia. I took a one-way flight to Bosnia. My family, husband, parents, everybody thought I was absolutely crazy.
It is crazy.
In fact, another story while going to Bosnia was at the immigration in Delhi. There was this officer, and you don't need, if you have a US visa, you don't need a Bosnian one. So he said, "Aap kahan ja rahe hain?" And I said, "I'm going to Bosnia." And he says, "Where is that?" I said, "You're the immigration officer, sir." So he said, "Nahi, kahan hai?" And then, they were talking apas mein to the other officers. And then suddenly all these 11, I think 10 or 11 officers on duty, they just got up and started clapping. And I, for the life of me, was like, now what did I do?
Why were they clapping?
Because in their kind of tenure of being immigration,
no one had gone to Bosnia.
They had never sent anybody, leave alone a single girl. And I was like, oh my God, that little bit of fear I had. Where am I going? What am I doing? But I just took that plunge, learned for 2-3 days. I came back and I implemented everything that I could. And then I grew it because innately I love to write. Then I got online. I learned. I took courses. I hired the best mentors in this particular space. And then in, I think, a span of 6 to 8 months, I absolutely changed his entire LinkedIn profile, yes. But alongside that, I also changed mine. And that's when it all started for me.
So I've got 2 questions here. One is, how do you plan your next post? What makes you tick? I mean, why this very... Sometimes you have very crazy ones, unique ones, personal ones, and sometimes you have, trends and official types. How do you plan your LinkedIn post schedule?
Okay, that's a great question. I don't follow trends. Not on Instagram, not on LinkedIn, because I am not Gen Z, so to speak. I don't understand trending.
I thought you were.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a compliment, thank you. But I don't plan the trend. But what I do plan is what I want to write. So typically we would divide content into 3 buckets. So we say, top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel, if you're talking technicality. And then position, you need to put a little personal story, because see, at the end of the day, a personal brand has to have a personal person behind it. There has to be a human to human connect. I don't want to talk to a company. I can be talking about my agency, but who is the face of that agency? For example, look at Dipinder Goyal today. He's all over LinkedIn. Why? People want to know the story. What does he have to say? Anil Agarwal, Vedanta. He doesn't need to be on LinkedIn. But yet everybody wants to know, how did he rise? He was from Bihar. What happened? So this founder story is very important. So yes, sometimes on LinkedIn I share personal, and then sometimes I divide the content into the expertise so people understand what we do to come to us. How do you get inbound clients? Like earlier you had to do, like, let's use, say Sales Navigator on LinkedIn. Let's go do an outreach. But supposing I don't know you, Vivek, and I just send you a direct message on LinkedIn and say, hi, I'm Pooja, this is what I do, I'd love to do it for you. The chances of you accepting that would be zero.
Zero.
But take this for instance. I see your post. I just leave like a nice, thoughtful comment that talks about my content expertise.
That's a good idea.
And I do it day after day, week after week,
then
month after month.
One notices.
So then if I write you even a hi, you will respond and say, hey, I'd like to know what you do, tell me more.
Then I may write a hi actually, because I see these comments.
Yeah.
So just to say, perfection is not really suitable for LinkedIn or Instagram. So if I'm trying to be very proper, and then I'm not really getting the eyeballs as someone who's, if I can use this word, a little crazy, let's say.
Not little, a lot.
So a little craziness probably attracts a lot more eyeballs. And that is what you've cracked. You've cracked that code. It's not very crazy, it's a little crazy, but it is probably doing exactly the magic that you're looking for.
Which is why you should know, like, that's what people want to know, a side of you that they don't know. I mean, it's not cringe. Like sometimes people tell me, but it's so cringe. Now I'm working with this gentleman, he's in Dubai, and he says, but it's too cringy for me to post about me playing golf. I said, but why not? I can put down a proper 250 word post on leadership with golf. Golf is the best lesson ever.
True.
It's just about how you put it. We're not just putting random pictures here.
So I put my cricket and it really went viral.
Yes.
When I just speak, it doesn't go viral. But then I bring in a different element, it goes well. So I get that point. But let's come also to your writing the book now, because that is something I'm very interested in. So this book which is coming, tell us about it, and how did you think of it, and how is it shaping up?
So you already know a bit about the book.
I do.
But for our audience, I will definitely say, tentatively titled Being an Indian Teen. And it's being published by Westland, and I'm very excited because it's a graphic novel. In my opinion, India's answer to Marvel. And why I say that is because it's about these three girls. I've used a South Indian protagonist in this because there's something about me and South India when I was growing up. And we'll get to that maybe a little later.
We don't know the names. We won't know the names yet. We'll have to read.
Yes, of course. You have to read it. So it's about these three girls. The South Indian who shifts to Mumbai, but she's in a very typical traditional Orthodox family, and her parents aren't being able to digest the sobo culture of Mumbai. And she goes to, of course, a really nice, uber lavish, cosmopolitan sobo school. And she meets these two girls who get her. And the story is about how these girls navigate Instagram in a tech-driven world today, how they get drawn into deep fake and the dark web, and how they get out. So without giving the gyan, we want to tell them and get them aware of, and very typically Indian, because see, as Indian moms, we have unsaid commandments for our children. I'm sure you'd agree. Privacy is a big one. We don't really knock a door and enter. But I guess sometimes we should. I mean, we're asking the children, what do you want for dinner? They say, okay, we'll have, spaghetti and red sauce. And then we go ahead and make penne and white. So why ask? So these are little nuances I feel that a lot of, in talking to a lot of young kids, I realize that there's a little line which is similar. Like a little thread, like you have a thread with beads, like a necklace, like this. So it's like everything, the thread is the same. The beads are separate, but the thread is the same. And that's what I'm trying to capture in this particular book.
So who's the target audience, and what is the genre of the book? It sounds like a very serious story, although it's probably inspiring. Is there some humor, cheerfulness? Is it a multidimensional book? Talk about it.
So yes, there is humor. There is a little bit not seriousness. It's a typical story about teenagers. So say girls, boys between the ages or whichever gender people associate with, between the ages of say 8 to 12. Now this is intended to be a series. So this particular book is 8 to 12. Then we have where right now the crush, the love part of growing up hasn't of adolescence hasn't
Yeah.
come in. Then we will touch upon those. Then we touch upon what happens in towards the end of your teen. So it's intended to be a series,
It's a
and
good
I'm
idea.
excited.
8 to 12, 12 to 16, 16 to 20,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe 20 to 24.
Never
Sometimes you
know.
never know.
Because I feel like, remember when we were growing up to these Archie comics, and I love them. So I
Richie
said,
Rich,
why not now?
Archie, Nancy Drew.
Nancy, not Nancy Drew
Nancy
wasn't
Drew
a
was a
comic.
novel, right?
Yeah, yeah. But like Richie Rich, a comic. So I thought that would be exciting to get it back.
You said graphic novel. It's basically not a it is a graphically enabled novel, but it's not graphic in terms of the content being, above
No, no, no. Graphic
thousand
as in a
spells.
picture.
Yeah, I
It's like
get
a
your
picture
point.
book.
It's
But yeah.
it's like a picture book novel. So this book and then the next, what is the future for you as an author?
So I already have two coming out. One is by Wesleyan. The other one has been pitched to a couple of publishers. That is for kids who go from home to college. The second one that I'm talking to you about is again a very, very interesting concept because that is about kids going to college. Now, again, very typical Indian because as the world over, the child turns 18, you say, Acha, theek hai, now you leave home. But in this particular book, whether there's a child from Pithoragarh in Uttarakhand to Mumbai or a kid from Mumbai going to the United States, the the difference is really vast because it's a very, very fast paced world, right? So, how do children navigate that? Where are the skills that they need to have? Communication being number one, kindness. How important is spirituality? We say step outside your comfort zone, but give them a reason to, right? Why would they want to step out of something that they're used to? So instead of saying that do this, the should be's and could be's of life, what I've tried to do is use my own life experiences, put it there, talk about the highs, the lows, the happy, the sad, the vulnerabilities, the
Right.
failures, because I feel failure teaches you a lot more than success ever can.
That's very true. But do you want to bring in any shock value or something scandalous into your books in future, or do you want to write these feel good, peppy, positive books? Because authors also want to sell, and there are many authors in India who use that as a plank to sell their books. Something which is a little shocking, let's say, or scandalous.
Why would I want to do that? Because for me, it's the writing. For me, it's that little impact that I can make in someone's life to say, hey, I love reading that. I can associate with this particular character. Like, so when I wrote Being an Indian Teen, tentatively titled, I gave it to over 220 kids to read it, and kids of all orientations. I didn't even know that there are so many different kinds of genders or sexual orientations and things like that the children the world over associate with. But when I started giving it out, I said, okay, that's also a thing. And I got back different, very interesting reviews about it, and try to incorporate it so it could be a book for every child out there. It is not just, okay, it's titled Being an Indian Teen, but that teen in Russia or that teen in America would find something to draw off it. So for me, the fun was, honestly, I've never seen what's going to happen. Yes, we all have targets. I want to do these many copies and things like that. You know it.
I know you
It's
have
a
these
secret.
very grandiose designs, which is great. That's why you reached out to the world number one in LinkedIn as well. You have
Yes.
this kind of, I was going to ask you that earlier. Now, so let's bring it up now. I mean, thinking big is my way also, but you think very big. How did you become like that?
Because I have one thing that it's like a post-it on my, bathroom mirror, which says that the universe meets you at your level of audacity. So go ahead and ask for the biggest, most unreasonable things. And I look at that every day and I'm like, that's it. Why would I ask for something that the universe can anyways give? Because it's going to meet me at my level of spunk. So
this brings me to the next phase. So you're from Dehradun currently. You're from
yeah.
Bombay.
Yeah.
So
Bombay
Dehradun,
girl. I'll always
Bombay
be a
girl, but
Bombay
then
girl.
Dehradun is a small town.
Yes.
Smaller. Let's say Chandigarh, Dehradun are smaller towns. But then you're thinking global.
Yes.
So does it hold you back that you're from Dehradun? And talk about the love for Dehradun, let's say, and the fact that you can still flower so much and become like a blooming flower all over the world.
I love that you're looking at the flower.
Yeah.
So Dehradun, I love it. And I'll tell you why I love it. I said because of the quality of life that we have there. in a family that totally gets me. Of course, have a very supportive, husband, kids, everything. But more than that, I think it's the mindset. And see, people are good, people are bad. I always say that. It's just what you take out of them, right? So growing in that zone, of course, initially I thought it's a smaller town. I don't have those opportunities. But I realized that with the internet, I think somewhere Corona also played a big role in,
It did.
telling a
It
lot
helped
of
you.
us. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it helped me, for one, to say that this is something I can do online. Yes, I upskill. I love AI. I absolutely love it because it's like, you wake up every morning, Vivek, and it's like, which new app is out there? Let me learn more about it. And it's fascinating to me how quick and fast apps get created. So for me, that Dehradun will never hold me back because that's home, right? But what happens is that the way I've put my mind to it to say I can do it, and talking to people across the globe, it's about time zones, it's about mindsets,
Yeah.
it's about cultures. Everything is open if you are open. And that's something I definitely want our audience to say, that so many people and children especially tell me that small town ke hai, what can we do? You can do a lot. You can definitely do a lot if you
In this
have it.
era, you can. In earlier times, it may have been a constraint because you have to travel. Here, you're online, you're digital, you can be anywhere in the world, as you said. And if you are open, then the world will open up for you.
It's not easy. And let me tell you, it's not easy. Yes, of course, being in a Delhi, Mumbai would have been much easier to, just go out there, meet people, come back. For every trip, maybe I have to travel. But the fact is, I use that travel to upskill. I'll learn another app. I'll read something, which things that you can't normally do. So where people say that, you have limiting beliefs, I think those limiting beliefs are what people need to work on. But that's something inherent. It's something you have to notice in yourself and bring out. No one's going to help you. No one's going to pull you out. I always say that.
That's a good point. So you have two daughters.
Yes.
I have two
Yeah.
daughters. You're writing about these three girls in your book. And you having been a young girl who's moved on, what is your, not advice, but what is your take to these young girls of India who are like growing now in 2025? How should they handle the challenges and the pressures and the expectations?
My first biggest piece of advice is going to be, have an absolute delusional amount of self belief.
Right.
Because if you have that in you, nothing or no one can deter you from what you want. And the second one is that give yourself reason to wake up. Like, you have to give yourself a dream. I'm not saying a goal, I'm saying a dream, because those dreams are what are going to make you stay awake at night, also make you want to wake up should you sleep, but it gives you something to work towards. Right? See, there are too many people that are going to tell you you can't do this or you shouldn't do this. But I feel that, like, log kya kahenge, these three words, it's killed more dreams and aspirations than anything else, especially for girls in India.
That
Especially.
resonates with me too, because I tell the youngsters of today that I say that I used to think like that. I'm thinking, who's watching me? I used to be a cricketer.
Yeah.
We got out on zero today. What will my coach think, dad think, others think? They are important people.
Yeah.
What will the audience think?
Yeah.
They're not important. And there's a saying that something about someone who matters and doesn't mind, and those who mind don't matter, something like that.
Yeah.
So the thing is that overthinking about expectation of what people think is really, you're right, the deterrent to success. So I think we need to get over that. And these children are living in a time of overthinking. So what do you think about this overthinking thing, that this complexity of the Gen Z, of they want to grow but they're not able to, they're like they're held down by some mindset and this mental pressure which they're feeling today?
They talk a lot of anxiety. Now, I live with two Gen Z, so I hear this word a lot. And I keep saying, tell me one thing. What is it that you are so anxious about? If you can't talk about it, then how does someone help you solve it, right? See, you need help. Everybody can go out, ask for help. But what I feel is it's like a self-imposed kind of block that they have. And that's something I feel only communication and conversation can solve. Sadly, unfortunately, in a lot of our homes, Vivek, we are not having those conversations.
Yeah.
Because even dining table, meal times are all about eat quickly and let's go on our phone.
People are eating separately instead of eating family.
And they're not even eating together, especially the children and parents. And I see that not so much in smaller towns, but in big cities for sure, because they really don't have time. And I feel, what happened to a face-to-face conversation?
Right.
See, we could have shot this podcast online, right? we made the effort to do it offline. Why?
Much better.
Because it's that human to human connect,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that is what is missing. Yes, it requires effort, it requires time, but if we can't do that, then what is your purpose on earth? You have to give yourself that kind of, a thought process to say, what is it that you are here to do? What is it that you want to do? And how are you going to get there?
So the level of the conversation is rising now.
Yes.
In the beginning, you mentioned spirituality. What are we here for? You just said. So self-development for you, what does it mean? I mean, the body, mind, and soul. You're physically, one has to look after oneself. The mind has to be looked after, and the soul has to be nurtured. What do you do, if you can share with our audience, to meditate or to look after your fitness? What is the self-development
part? So your audience
part?
is going to definitely laugh, because when I meditate to chamia Bollywood music.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
I can't
That's
do,
okay.
like, oh, you need like a very nice trance Buddha bar
No.
or something. I cannot do that.
Mm.
You tell me focus on one point in the middle of your
It
head.
doesn't happen.
Doesn't work for me. But yes, when I listen to, like, say, a Pretty Woman soundtrack, like I remember at one time the kids and I were traveling somewhere and my phone just rang and I said, oh, it's my meditation time. And they're like, okay. And then I'm in this room and there's, Pretty Woman playing and Dirty Dancing and, time of my life. And they're like, I thought you were meditating. I said, this lets me meditate. It's giving me, like, my brain is absolutely empty. What is meditation? It's being able to declutter your mind and focus on one thing. So when I listen to this kind of vibrant, like a Chikni Chameli or something, sometimes it just empties my mind. There's a smile on my face and I'm absolutely devoid of any stress. There's nothing, no thought, everything. I'm just there in that moment, listening to those words, laughing as to how funny is this form of meditation. But
so there are two parts to it, as far as I can see. One is the decluttering part and getting out the thoughts and removing the obstacles to meditation. That part you're talking about. And the next part is to actually flow the energy towards the divine.
Yeah.
Which is the next part. So one day that also has to, you've got your peace, you're like.
But that's divinity, what is divinity? I mean, it's just how you look at it. That is my way of reaching, say, the universe or God, because I say it's in me. If I am peaceful inside, I will spread peace. If I am happy, I will spread happy, right? Isn't that what, say, God would want us to do? Like, just be good, be kind, spread the cheer, spread the good vibes. So for me, that is meditation. As far as that's like soulful for me, right? What do I do for fitness is very important for me. I love kickboxing. I do go to the gym. We do have like a dance class at gym, which I enjoy, because I feel health is the ultimate wealth. It's not just a quote, I mean, if you have health, only then can you do everything that we've spoken about.
What about laughter, fun, games, people who make you laugh, and just being sometimes a joking kind of person? Is that you? Do you do that a lot?
A lot, yes. I am.
And the funniest person you ever met?
The funniest person, instead of having a name, I'll give you a situation. Like, I think laughter, humor, it draws me in. Like, you enter a room and you see somebody who's, like, say, stand-up comedy. Like, when I hear some really fun comedy, it's hilarious, because I think it's fun. It's good to laugh. And I'm not talking about the laughter classes. I'm saying give yourself a reason to want to laugh genuinely, like from inside, from your soul. People laugh in different ways. Sometimes you hear people laugh and it's funny. So I think laughter, instead of naming a person, I would name like an incident which is, say you and me, when we sit and we talk, something comes up, as a joke, and you just end up laughing over, say, a cup of coffee. That is, to me, priceless.
That's what we were doing before the show, and we continue after the show. Well, fantastic to have had you on this episode.
Thank you.
The good vibes are palpable, evident. And I think we've covered a lot of subjects in a very short time. Thank you, Pooja. All the very best.
Thank you so much for having me here, Vivek. Absolute pleasure to be here.